There was, I believe, Admiral Perry up in the Arctic looking for the North Pole, ran out of food fairly early on that trip, started eating polar bear because there was lots of that. Polar bear liver has about 10,000 times the vitamin A of anything else we know about, and the entire crew died of vitamin A poisoning. Too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing. When we're looking for nutrient balance, the balanced diet, it is not how much of any one thing can you get. It's close to human nutritional needs. Once we exceed it, we're going to throw off our balance with other things. People will say, oh, and this stuff has every mineral known to man. I go, great. That's about 40 more than I want to be exposed to. Just because it exists doesn't mean that it's good for you to be exposed to it. It takes some keeping your head on your shoulders, thinking. Madison Avenue marketing today is the same as it's always been. It's just a little more slick because their job is to stay a step ahead of you. But essentially, the snake oil salesmen are selling snake oil. More is not better. Lycopene. It comes in plants that are what color? Red. Oh, is that just tomatoes or watermelon included? Red bell peppers? Yep. Beets? Yep. Pretty much anything red, huh? Yep. Strawberries?
But you can only get enough of them when you cook your tomatoes.
Actually, it's an interesting thing because what you get when you cook your tomatoes is you get more of them, we're told. We don't know if you get more from one cooked tomato than you do from one raw tomato, or if the same volume of cooked tomato is actually 2 cooked tomatoes compared to 1 raw tomato because the water is missing. So nobody has ever told us that. In fact, I'd be willing to bet nobody in the room, doctors included, can tell us how much more phytonutrient, how much more lycopene do you get? No, nobody knows how much more. If you're making $100,000 a year and I give you a raise to $100,000 and a penny, but you got to switch jobs and travel, you know, it might not be as good as it sounds. There are about 100 nutrients that become more bioavailable when you cook the food. But there's several 100,000 nutrients that become less available. It's essentially about a 9,999 to 1. If you're willing to get a little more of one in order to give up 9,999 of the others, then cooking is definitely the way to go. But if you want the 9,000, the interesting point is there is no information pointing to the concept that we get an insufficient amount of lycopene in raw food. All we know is that it's possible that you get more, but we don't even know for sure. We don't know also if more is bad for you. What happens? What's the tolerance level? What happens at the high end?